This thing on? I think it's on. I think we're good. Hello, hello, hello. Beardo Cleaver's back here from vacation. Had a nice 2 weeks off or so. And I know quite a few of you guys have been asking for this over the months. I'm gonna do a tour of my CD collection. I've never really done this before. I've organized them. I've counted them over the years. I don't have an exact number of how many CDs I have. If I had to guess, probably at least 500. Probably in like the 600 or 700 range. I've been collecting them at least 20 years now. The first CD I ever got, the first CD I ever bought with my own money, I think was fucking, I want to say Bush Razor Blade Suitcase. Their second one. The one that was produced by Steve Albini. But yeah, enough dilly-dallying. On with the show. Let's do it. Okay, I'm gonna turn the camera around here. Start in alphabetical order. Okay. So here we go. I'm just gonna name the bands and the albums and talk a little bit about them if I feel like it. So here we got Abat. He used to be the frontman for a black metal band called Immortal. And this one I've only listened to once or twice. And I know it's got a lot of like recognition and it's been at the top or near the top of a lot of like best of lists. And I want to get more into it. There's a lot of CDs here that I haven't listened to yet. But for the most part, I have listened to most of them. Okay, after Abat, we got Adolescence. I think that's the first self-titled one. Kind of classic pop-punk band from California, I want to say. We got Agalok, Marrow of the Spirit. They are kind of I want to say, progressive kind of black metal band from Oregon. I want to say they broke up a few years ago. And that's another one that I want to listen to more. Then we got the Alan Parsons Project, made famous from that famous line in Austin Powers. Very, very good progressive rock from, I think it's the late 70s. We got the album Leaf, Between Waves. That's one of the CDs that I got from a Relapse Records CD grab bag. I think it was like, I have a video of it on my YouTube actually. I think it was like 15 CDs for $30, something like that, I want to say. Haven't listened to it yet, but I want to. Below that, we got Davey Allen and Joel Grind. Same story with that one. Got it from the Relapse Records CD grab bag. Haven't listened to that at all yet. Below that, I could check it out. What is it? Looks like, fuck, what is it? I know it's black metal, probably, judging by the cover. God damn, what is that? Not even the label says anything on it. Maybe something on the back. Oh, it's Neurot. Oh, Amun-Ra. Amun-Ra, Mass. There's the back of it. Amun-Ra, Mass 5. On Neurot's Records. Yeah, it's like kind of atmospheric metal. Kind of the same dissonance as Neurosis, but not as dense. More sparse instrumentation. Only listened to that once so far, but it's really good, and I want to listen to it more. After that, we got two by Ancients, metal band from, I think, Vancouver. Heart of Stone, or Heart of Oak, the first one, and Voice of the Void, their second one. After that, we got, what is that? Animals as Leaders. Which album is it? It's that one. Has some really, really crazy musicianship and musical moments on it. And we got Philip H. Anselmo and the Illegals. That's Phil Anselmo's first solo record. Phil Anselmo, legendary singer of Pantera, Superjoint, Ritual, Down. Yeah, that's where he's most known for. We got a double album called 666 by Aphrodite's Child. That is a very, very trippy prog rock album. I had a really interesting trip listening to that. Highly recommended. Very obscure prog rock. Below that we have Aqua Teen Hunger Force, the soundtrack. I only bought it because it has that Mastodon song on it, Cut You Up with a linoleum knife. Below that we got Arcadia, featuring Bron Daler, the drummer for Mastodon, singer and drummer. Very good, kind of proggy, synthy, hard rock stuff. No guitars, just drums and synths. Below that we got Arson Anthem, another band featuring Phil Anselmo. And I think Mike from I Hate God is in that too. Just another like kind of hardcore project. We got ASG, Blood Drive, came out a few years ago on Relapse Records. Just a good time, kind of straight up heavy rock metal stuff. Good vibes. Kind of reminds me of Clutch or Fu Manchu. Just like nothing too complicated, just good vibes. Then we got Arion, Into the Electric Castle. Some more progressive power metal, kind of operatic. Not operatic, but like kind of... It's got a concept to it. Kind of, what's the word? Cinematic. Yeah. Next column we got right here, Bad Religion. Stranger Than Fiction. That's the only one of theirs that I have. Just another legendary punk band from, I think, California. Then we got some Baroness. Red Album, Blue Record, Yellow and Green, and Purple. One of my favorite bands from Georgia. I think they're from Atlanta, Georgia too. Or from Savannah. I know they're from Georgia. Yeah, and they were involved in a very horrific bus accident a few years ago during the tour for Yellow and Green. And I think half the band left because of that and injuries sustained because of that bus crash. And the result is Purple, the album that came after that. Then we got some Beach Boys, classic rock Beach Boys, Pet Sounds. One of the most legendary, influential rock albums ever. It's been said that this album, Pet Sounds, was influenced by Revolver by the Beatles. And then this album, in turn, influenced Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band by the Beatles. Then after that, below that, we have just a compilation by the Beach Boys, Sounds of Summer. Very good compilation. If it goes into focus here, it's got one of my favorite Beach Boys songs on it called In My Room. It's got a very melancholic melody and chord progression. Then we got some Beatles. Who the hell are the Beatles? We got Rubber Soul, Revolver, Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club. I don't know, it's so blurry I can't see the end of it. Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. And then Abbey Road and Let It Be by the Beatles. John Lennon, Paul McCartney, George Harrison, Ringo Starr, aka Richard Starkey. Another one that I got from the Relapse Records grab bag, Bedemon or Bedemon. Haven't listened to this at all yet. I think it contains what's his name, Bobby Liebling from Pentagram, the singer from Pentagram. I don't know if that came after or before Pentagram. I want to say after or before, one of the two. Behemoth, the Satanist. Very, very good blackened death metal. It's my only album by Behemoth, but it's a good album nonetheless. It's very, very dark and heavy and catchy at times too. We got Behold the Arctopus, This is just insane instrumental metal. If you watch like YouTube fail videos of instrumentations and musicians, it features like the bassist and guitarist is jamming nonsensically and non-musically, and the bass player has like 16 strings on his bass, and it looks ridiculous, but it's got its moments. And I think the last track features Jordan Rudess, the keyboard player from Dream Theater, which I'll be getting to shortly. After Behold the Octopus, we got Bell Witch, Mirror Reaper. Just came out, I think, last year. It's a double CD set. Pretty much one song on each CD. First track is called what is it called? Yeah, As Above is the first track, and So Below is the second track. It's just very, very meditative, mantric, doom metal. I think they're on tour with Yob right now, or they just finished a tour with Yob. After Bell Witch, we got some good old classic rock and roll, boogie woogie, rhythm and blues. Mr. Chuck Berry, Johnny B. Good, the great 28. That's all you need from him. It's got all his hits. Between the Bird and Me, prog rock band, prog metal band from, I want to say, the East Coast. I want to say Boston, but I'm probably wrong. Yeah, I want to get more into these guys. I know they're one of their earlier albums, Colors, is really influential and essential. I haven't listened to that one yet. I just have The Great Misdirect, and what is it? The one at the bottom is Coma Ecliptic. And then these ones are fucking the Parallel something. What does it say? The Parallel Future Sequence. I think it's part 1 and 2. That's what it is. Next column, we have Bison, BC, from, pretty sure it's Vancouver, BC. Kind of legendary sludge band from up here in Canada, eh? We got Quiet Earth. We got Dark Ages, Lovelessness, and the last one that came out a year or two ago called You Are Not the Ocean, You Are the Patient. And if you listen to that one and then the one before it and the ones before it, you'll notice like a vast jump in musical maturity and songwriting, and it's like they really stripped the fat and cut off the fat off of unnecessary parts in their music and stuck it on the new album, and that's just what it contains. It's like the best representation of Bison right now. Then we got some Big Business. Awesome sludge band. This is one of the first kind of underground bands that I got into about 10 years ago. It's just a bass player, for the most part, a bass player and a drummer. And they sound heavy as fuck. Very, very catchy sludge, up-tempo sludge. If you know the band Torch, kind of like that, but different. It's the same, but different. So we got Head for the Shallow by Big Business. The next one, Here Come the Waterworks. Mind the Drift, Battlefields Forever, and Command Your Weather. That's for Big Business. Then after that, band everybody should know and love, Black Sabbath. Just a few kind of stragglers here. We Sold Our Souls for Rock and Roll, Live at Last, which, as the title suggests, is a live album. We have Reunion. We have the Dio Years, the best of the Dio years. Then we have 13, the last one that they did with Ozzy, and the Ultimate Collection, which is a 2 CD set of their best songs from the Ozzy era. We have Black Salvation, Uncertainty is Bliss. I bought this CD on a whim. I don't think I've listened to it yet. I just bought it because I like the description. And the description said something like, actually, it's right here. Here's the kind of the top of it. What does it say? Black Salvation, featuring ex-members of In Solitude, exquisitely blend blues, hard rock, doom, and psychedelia into an intoxicating synthesis of rock and roll alchemy. Recommended if you like Graveyard, The Stooges, King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard, Witchcraft, In Solitude, The Doors, Uncle Acid and the Deadbeats, and Electric Wizard. I do like all those bands, so I think I made the right choice. I still haven't listened to it yet, though. After that, we got Bong Ripper Miserable, which is a really cool instrumental doom stoner sludge band. All instrumental. Wicked riffs on that one. After that, we got Bongzilla. You tell where their priorities lie. I think this album, Marijuana Can, features Dixie Dave, the bass player and vocalist from Weed Eater. Then we got Boris with Mersbow. I think it's Mersbow. Another album that I got from the Relapse Records grab bag. Haven't listened to it yet. It's on the list though. After that, we have Black Star by David Bowie. It's a really, really good album. Really jazzy. One of my favorites from the year it came out. I think it came out 2016. Really interesting chord movements and vocal lines within that. I remember getting a hot shave a few years ago, and that was playing on the stereo system in the barbershop. And I always associate that album with getting a close hot shave. Something I'll never do again though, but I'm glad I did it the one time. After that, we got Brain Tentacles. Really crazy, kind of jazzy, heavy band. Features just three guys. We got a drummer, we got a bass player, and a saxophonist. And I saw these guys live playing with Intronaut and Gorguts a few years ago. And that was a hell of a show. That was really interesting to watch and listen to, because you don't really listen to a lot of metal bands or like hard, heavy bands with saxophone. Highly recommended if you want something a little bit different. After that, we got Brothers of the Sonic Cloth featuring Tad Doyle from the band Tad, a legendary 90s sludge grunge band, if you want to call it that. That came out on Neurot Records a few years ago too. After that, we have Brutal Truth, Sounds of the Animal Kingdom. Essential kind of brutal death metal band album. Only listened to this once on Relapse Records. Highly recommended. Very influential. We got Burnt by the Sun, Heart of Darkness. Kind of in the same category as Brutal Truth. I think these guys are more kind of technical, more maybe math rockish or math metal-ish, I want to say. Another album that I want to listen to more of, I just haven't found the time. Then we got Buzz Oven, Soar, influential, kind of sludgy, hardcore band, I guess, from somewhere in the States. Yes. Now, behind the music, what do we got? We got Mirage by Camel. Camel's a prog rock band. I don't know where from. I haven't listened to that yet, but I bought it because I heard it's essential, and I still haven't checked it out. Then we got some Cannibal Corpse, Tomb of the Mutilated. Very, very brutal, heavy as fuck death metal. I find that some of the parts sound like Slayer in a good way, and they sound better than a lot of what Slayer has done. I think this one contains their most popular song, Hammer Smashed Face. Yes, the first song actually, made famous by Ace Ventura, Pet Detective. After that, we got Surgical Steel by Carcass. This is like their reunion album, or their comeback album, I want to say. Came out a few years ago. Very, very catchy, melodic death metal. I always like hearing good musicianship and good songs, and that contains it. And we got Casualties of Cool featuring Devin Townsend. This is his space country album. And imagine kind of a rockabilly country album recorded on the moon. That's kind of what it sounds like. Celtic Frost to Megatherion. Very important band, extreme band. Another album that I haven't listened to a lot yet, but I want to get more into it because I've heard nothing but good things. Below that we have, what is it? It's not CQY, it's Churches. That's a group, I think it's like a synth pop group. Kind of an anomaly in my collection. Very catchy, very just chill, keyboard-driven stuff. Very good. And then after that, CKY, Infiltrate, Destroy, Rebuild. One of my favorite albums of all time. It's so fucking catchy. Every song is so good. Very good production, very good riffs, very good songwriting. It's just, I've got good memories associated with this album. Yeah. And then after that, the one that came after that, An Answer Can Be Found. Carver City. And then The Phoenix. The one that just came out a few years ago. Not as good as Infiltrate, Destroy, Rebuild, in my opinion, but still good. Then we got the soundtrack to A Clockwork Orange by Wendy Carlos. It's just got really interesting interpretations of like classical songs on synthesizer, and I bought it basically for the theme song to A Clockwork Orange, which is one of my favorites. Excuse me, one of my favorite songs. After that, we got a whole bunch of Clutch. I think I have pretty much all the Clutch. I might be missing one or two like B-side albums or whatever. We have the first one, Transnational Speedway League, Anthems, Anecdotes, and Undeniable Truths. And the self-titled Elephant Riders, Pure Rock Fury, Blast Tyrant, Robot Hive Exodus. We got From Beale Street to Oblivion, Strange Cousins from the West, Earth Rocker, and then the last one that came out, what was it called again? Psychic Warfare, I think it was called. All very good, kind of up-tempo, blues, riff-based blues rock, heavy blues rock, funky blues rock. Yeah, it's not like metal, but it's just heavy, groovy rock in the vein of like, it's like if Frank Zappa sung for more basic Led Zeppelin, riff-wise, yeah. After that, we got some Coheed and Cambria. I think it's called Coheed and Cambria, not Cambria. Another album that I want to listen to more. Good Apollo, I'm Burning Star 4, Volume 1, I think. It's got their most famous song, Welcome Home. Then some jazzy jazz. John Coltrane, Giant Steps. After that, we have Calm Trues, Iteration. Got some synth wave. I forgot I had that album. I should listen to it more. Just trippy synthwave stuff. Control Denied, featuring Chuck Schuldiner, frontman for Death. He passed away a few years ago, and this is like his band that came after Death. After the band Death, not his death. Then we got Corrections House on Neurot Records, featuring Mike Williams from I Hate God, Scott Kelly from Neurosis, and I think, what's his name, Stanford Parker from Rake, I want to say, or Minsk, one of those bands. It's kind of noisy industrial hardcore with spoken word by Mike Nine Williams. Recommended if you're a fan of those guys. We got Crosby, Stills, and Nash, self-titled. I think it has Sweet Judy Blue Eyes on it. Haven't listened to it yet, but I bought it. I have it. I want to listen to it. Crowbar, Obedience Through Suffering, Odd Fellows Rest, and Symmetry in Black. Crowbar, legendary sludge band from NOLA, New Orleans, Louisiana. Now we got Cynic, Focus. Influential, kind of jazzy tech death band from, I want to say, Florida. kind of the same scene as the band Death. This has a lot of vocoder on the vocals. Yeah, very jazzy, very dense, and essential if you like that sort of music. Move on over. We have Danzig, first one. Kind of blues rock. Then the band Death. Everyone except Symbolic. All of these are on Relapse Records. And for some reason, Symbolic is on Roadrunner. And they can't find a middle ground, like Relapse and Roadrunner can't find a middle ground when it comes to releasing Symbolic on Relapse. I don't know why. So I have Scream, Bloody Gore, Leprosy, Spiritual Healing, Human, Individual Thought Patterns, and the last Death album, Sound of Perseverance. And I appreciate how they get even more kind of technical and progressive as the albums go by. Another band that is very influential and essential, but I haven't listened to them enough because I don't know their songs off by heart, but I want to. Then we got some Death from Above. Their first name was Death from Above 1979, but they changed that to just Death from Above. I think it's a two-piece. I want to say just drums and bass. And it's kind of in the same vein as maybe Big Business, but more synth involved. A more just kind of rock and rollish. Very good stuff. Deep Purple, legendary hard rock band from the UK, featuring one of the most best guitarists ever, Richie Blackmore. We got In Rock. It's got one of my favorite riffs. Into the fire. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah, I got In Rock, Fireball, Machine Head, Everyone Knows, Smoke on the Water, and Burn. Then we got Metalocalypse, Death Clock, the Death album. Sad to hear that the director of Metalocalypse passed away from a stroke a few days ago. That's not good, and I want to listen to more Death Clock and watch more Metalocalypse right now. Below that, I think we have the second Death Clock album. Let me see here. Yeah, it's the second one right there. Below that, bunch of Devin Townsend. Devin Townsend solo, Devin Townsend project. We have Ziltoid the Omniscient, Key, Addicted, Deconstruction, Ghost, Epic Cloud, Z2, and Transcendence. So yeah, very eclectic, very diverse music from one madman, Devin Townsend, from Vancouver, BC, Canada. If I had to pick one as my favorite out of those, I would say Ziltoid. Just very, it's kind of his signature sound and his signature vibe, in my opinion. Yeah. And we got Devo, Freedom of Choice. Very good kind of new wave punk band. I think 2 or 3 or one of the members of Devo passed away a few years ago. But it's good, just pop punk. Not even pop punk, just like new wave punk stuff. Below that, we got some Dillinger Escape Plan. We have the Miss Machine, Ironworks, and Disassociation. The last one before they called it quits. It's kind of a mix between Faith No More, Nine Inch Nails, and just crazy math metal, which has time signatures going all over the place. Very good stuff. After that, Dinosaur Jr. featuring Jay Mascis, You're Living All Over Me. Another legendary kind of indie rock band. They're playing here with Mastodon in a few months actually. And I want to get more into them. That's the one I have of them. You're Living All Over Me. After that, Discharge, Hear Nothing, See Nothing, Say Nothing. Legendary D-beat hardcore punk band from the UK, I believe. is the first one. Very, very heavy, dense, angry punk music. Not like pop punk, just like hardcore punk. Yeah, and we got some Down, or as Phil Anselmo says, Dowd. That's my Phil Anselmo impression. We got the first album, Nola, Down 2, A Bustle in Your Hedgerow. Where is it right there? Down 3, Over the Under. And then the 2 EPs out of the planned 4 EP project, which has yet to come to fruition. We have the first EP, I think it's the Purple EP, and then the second one is the Orange EP. It's very good Nola sludge metal, featuring, like I said, Phil Anselmo, Jimmy Power Bauer on drums, Pepper Keenan on guitar. The earlier albums have Rex Brown from Pantera on bass, and as well the earlier albums have Kirk Winstein from Crowbar on guitar as well. And I think the last Crowbar album I showed you, Symmetry in Black, is Kirk's first album with Crowbar after he left Down to concentrate full-time on Crowbar. Then we got some Nick Drake, Pink Moon. I know this is my very good friend, Storybook Gamers, one of his favorite artists. This is an album that I picked up because I've heard good things about it from him and other people. And I've listened to it once, and it's very good. It's just like acoustic guitar and voice. It's very kind of introspective, mellow acoustic guitar. It reminds me of, I want to say Neil Young, but I could go with anything. It's just good songwriting, good lyrics, and you could tell that the guy was troubled, as we all are. After that, we have my absolute least favorite band of all time, kind of, but not really. We have Dream Theater. These guys are crazy, progressive metal maestros from the New York area, featuring John Petrucci on guitar, Mike Portnoy, formerly on drums. He left probably 10 years ago now. James Labrie on vocals, John the Loudspeaker Mayung on bass, and most recently Jordan Rudess on keyboards. So we got the first album without James Labrie on vocals. I think the singer's name is Charlie Domenici. I want to say it's probably wrong, but I'm going with it. We got When Dream and Day Unite. It's the first album. And then James Labrie joined for Images and Words, Awake, A Change of Seasons, Falling into Infinity, Scenes from Memory. That's for the first album featuring Jordan Rudess on keyboards. 6 Degrees of Inner Turbulence, double album. Train of Thought, Octavarium, The Greatest Hit, which is a joke because their only greatest hit was on, their true hit was on Images and Words, called Pull Me Under. Now we got change of record label. They switched over to Roadrunner. So we have Systematic Chaos, Black Clouds and Silver Linings, A Dramatic Turn of Events. That's the first one without Mike Portnoy. Founding drummer Mike Portnoy, he left, replaced by Mike Mangini. And then we have their self-titled Dream Theater album, and then The Astonishing, which is astonishingly worse. On to the next column here, we have Robert Zimmerman, a.k.a. Bobby Dylan. Highway 61 Revisited. Very good. Kind of folk rock. Legendary. Earth 2. Another legendary. That's the word of the day. Legendary. Sludge, or not sludge, drone doom metal. I don't recall there being any drums or percussion on this. It's just very loud, low-tuned guitar and drone-y notes that go on for half an hour. It's not like you have to be in a certain headspace to listen to this type of music. And because I'm in a drone band myself called Doja Cobra with a K, check it out. Link below. I've listened to more drone like that just to get inspired, and it's all very good. We got Elder Lore. This is I guess proggy band. One of the better albums of a few years ago. Haven't listened to it that much, but I want to listen to it more. And we got the soundtrack to one of my favorite games ever. We got Skyrim. We got the Elder Scrolls V Oblivion 2 Skyrim soundtrack from Jeremy Soule. I ordered this directly through his website. It's got 4 discs. 3 discs of tracks of like songs, and the last disc is just like miscellaneous sounds from Skyrim as well. Then below that we have Electric Wizard Dope Throne, very influential sludgy doom metal, apocalyptic doom metal. It's a very, very popular song in the genre called Funeralopolis. Very good, very good. Below that, Electro Quarterstaff, local band here from Winnipeg. Crazy instrumental progressive tech metal band. Lots of crazy riffs and time signature changes and very cool musical moments if you're a fan of that kind of stuff. Below that we have Eminem. What the hell is that doing here, Eminem? Is that the Slim Shady LP? Yes, it is. I'm not a big fan of rap, but I like Eminem and I like NWA and stuff like that. And it was on sale, so I bought it. It reminds me of high school. It's a very good, just funny rap. Emperor in the Nightside Eclipse. This is legendary black metal from, I think, Norway. Yeah. Entombed, Left Hand Path. These guys are like kind of death and roll, rock and roll, heavy death metal rock and roll from Scandinavia. I Hate God. Housecore Records. Legendary sludge band from New Orleans. Music from the motion picture Eyes Wide Shut. I only bought this because it has the song that Ghost uses for an intro track called what the fuck is it called again? I forget, but it's on there. Faith No More, the last one, Soul Invictus. It's very, very kind of all over the place, very catchy, weird, heavy rock. Fallujah. Haven't listened to this one much, but it's kind of heavy tech death. Yeah. Fleetwood Mac, and then Play On. This is before their most famous album, Rumors. This is still featuring Peter Green on guitar. It's got a classic riff-a-rama song called Oh Well. And that's another album I want to listen to more of. Foo Fighters, one of my favorite bands. This is like classic rock to me. We got the first Foo Fighters album, self-titled, Color and the Shape. What's the one after that? One by One, Echoes, Silence, Patience, and Grace. Their greatest hits. Wasting Light, Sonic Highways, and the one below that is their last one, I believe, Concrete and Gold. Yeah, of all those, I'd say my favorites are The Color and the Shape and the last one, Concrete and Gold. All very good stuff. Now, down to the second phase. We got GBH, City Baby, Attacked by Rats. Kind of in the same vein as Discharge. No, I don't want to end the stream. Just very angry, hardcore punk. This album in particular, though, reminds me, the riffs, especially sound-wise, like note choice-wise, reminds me of Ramones. Even though the Ramones are more pop punk, I noticed the same notes in a lot of the riffs. Not as kind of harsh or atonal as Discharge, but still very, very angry and good. After that, Gentle Giant, Octopus, Prog Rock, Ghost. We have Opus Eponymous, Infestissimum. If you have Ghosts, Meliora, Pope Star, and Prequel. Ghost. If you haven't heard of Ghost, they're a theatrical band from Sweden, led by a character named Papa Emeritus originally, and now It's the same guy behind the mask. That's the thing. The frontman wears a mask, and he changes identity every album cycle, but it's the same guy. So now he goes by the name Cardinal Copia. Sounds like classic rock with like theatrics. Kind of a mix of like Alice Cooper, Blue Oyster Cult, Black Sabbath, Merciful Fate, King Diamond, stuff like that. Very catchy, heavy rock metal. Not like death metal. They look like they should have played death metal, but it's more like heavy rock stuff. After that, Giraffe Tongue Orchestra, featuring Brent Hines from Mastodon and William. I don't know his last name. This new singer from Alice in Chains. William Duval is what his name is. Yeah. It's kind of. I thought it'd be better than that with a name like Giraffe Tongue Orchestra. I thought it'd be really crazy. I think one of the guys from Dillinger Escape Plan is in that too. But I find it more kind of middle of the road, kind of weird at times. Alternative rock. Still not bad stuff. After that, Goat Whore, blackened death metal from NOLA, New Orleans, Louisiana. We got some Goblin. Profondo Rosso, which is a soundtrack from the movie Profondo Rosso. And then the Best of Goblin, which is a compilation featuring the best songs of Goblin. Goblin are a progressive rock band from Europe. I don't know exactly where. They're famous for mostly doing film soundtrack stuff. I want to get their soundtrack to Suspiria, which I heard is very, very important. That's all I have of them. Then we have some Gojira, Magma. I know I have another Gojira album somewhere, the one before that, L'Enfant Sauvage. But Magma here, this one got some flack when it was released because it's different from their other albums. It's not quite as heavy or technical or dense. It's more chill, but it's still heavy. Still good. Below that, Gone is Gone. Right there, 2 albums. We have the self-titled EP and Echolocation, featuring Troy Sanders from Mastodon, and then Troy Van Leuven from Queens of the Stone Age, and some other guys as well. Kind of chill, heavy rock, dreamscape-ish stuff. Another album I want to listen to more because I'm not too familiar with it. We got some Gorguts. Pleiades Dust. I think that's how you pronounce it. Pleiades Dust. This is a 1 song, 1 track, like 30-some minute EP. Haven't listened to this one all the way through yet, but liked what I hear. It's just very technical, progressive, all over the place, kind of brutal death metal. I know I have another Gorguts album somewhere, the one that came before it. What's it called? Colored Sands. Yeah, where the hell is that album? Have it somewhere. Then we have Grateful Dead, American Beauty. This is like the second time I bought this album because I bought it the first time about 10 or 12 years ago. I listened to it. I couldn't get into it. I rebought it, and I still haven't listened to it again. So I'm hopefully, with a bit of a more expanded musical palette right now, I would like it more. But like I said, I still haven't listened to it. Green Druid, Ashen Blood. This came out very recently, a few months ago, I think. It's kind of inspired by Dark Souls, one of my favorite game series. Doomy, sludgy, kind of occultish rock. Very good stuff to have playing if you're playing a game like Dark Souls or Bloodborne. See if I can hold my phone without turning off the stream. There we go. After that, we got Gruesome Savage Land. This band is inspired by the band Death. I don't know if it has members of the band Death, but it's inspired by them. I know that much. Haven't listened to it yet. But if you like Death, can't go wrong with some Gruesome. And then we got some Guardians of the Galaxy Awesome Mix, Volumes 1 and 2. This is a soundtrack to the movies. This is like one of the best soundtracks ever, in my opinion, because it has a good mix of the best songs ever. Kind of like the Dazed and Confused soundtracks. you can't go wrong. Just put it in, listen to it, and every song is familiar, and it's a good time. After that, we got Mitch Hedberg, one of my favorite comedians, if not my favorite comedian. Mitch Altogether. This contains a DVD and a CD of his, a couple of his shows. Very good stuff. Very funny. Very quick-witted, and we're not quick-witted, but very, very funny one-liners that I can relate to. After that, we have one of my favorite bands, featuring one of my favorite guitarists, High on Fire. Pretty sure I have all their albums right now, except their live album. So we have the first one, which was reissued by Southern Lord. It's called The Art of Self-Defense. So this was a few years after he left the band Sleep. So it still features some kind of more slower, doomier riffs. But as they progress in their career, they get faster and sludgier. Kind of like a Slayer meets Motorhead vibe. Surrounded by Thieves, Blessed Black Wings, which is the first one I got from them. Live from the Relapse Contamination Festival. Death is This Communion. Snakes of the Divine, or Snakes for the Divine. Divermis Mysteris, I think that's how you pronounce it. And their last one, Luminiferous. And I just heard that their brand new one is coming out in September or October. I think it's called Electric Messiah. Don't quote me on that. I just heard it somewhere on the internet. But you know how it is on the internet. If you hear it on the internet, it has to be true. And then we have some sounds from my favorite terrorist organization, ISIS. No, I'm kidding. ISIS, very, very famous post-metal band. They're not together anymore. From, I think, Boston. We have Celestial Oceanic, right there. Panopticon, which is my favorite of theirs. I have very fond memories of listening to Panopticon and playing Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. Pardon me. In the Absence of Truth. And their last one, Wavering Radiant. Very good, kind of sludgy post-metal stuff. Inter Arma, that's another CD that I got from the Relapse Records grab bag. And I've listened to it once, and I think it's like heavy, kind of sludgy stuff with some melodic vocals. I want to check out more of that. Intronaut, Prehistoricisms, crazy tech metal, kind of jazzy stuff. And then Valley of Smoke. Holy shit, I forgot I had that. Well, what do you know? After that, we have James Marshall Hendricks, otherwise known as Jimi Hendrix, and the Jimi Hendrix Experience with his 3 albums, Are You Experienced, Axis, Bold as Love, Electric Lady, and one of the most famous guitarists ever. Highly influential, highly regarded as a trailblazer. One of the first, I'd say the first guitar hero, as it were, with his flashy clothing and stage moves and pyrotechnics, literally. And he was just out of this world. After that, we got some John Frum. Not a dude called John Frum. It's a band called John Frum. Stirring in the Noose. This is kind of progressive black metal. Yeah. Robert Johnson, King of the Delta Blues Singers. This is very early blues. There we go. Yeah, very early blues from Delta Blues, wherever that is. Florida or something. Georgia, I think he was. He died very early. He died at like the age of 27, I think. Because apparently a jealous lover poisoned his drink, as the saying goes. The saying also goes that he sold his soul to the devil at the crossroads to be able to play like he did. So the recordings is just very primitive. It's just his guitar and his voice. Very, very emotive, though. What is that after that? Joy Division is upside down for some reason. Closer, that is their first one, I believe. Yes, first one. First Joy Division. Kind of post-punk new wave stuff. Very catchy, very influential. I wasn't listening to it more. I just haven't found the time. After that, we have Judas Priest right there. We have Sin After Sin, Stained Class, which has one of my favorite metal songs on it, Exciter. Stand by for Exciter. Very awesome guitar harmonies on that song. Then we have Killing Machine, aka Hellbent for Leather, and Defenders of the Faith. I think I had British Steel somewhere, but I sold that, so I don't have it anymore. After that, we have Ken Mode, Kill Everything Now Mode. Very, very well-regarded noise rock sludge band from my hometown, Winnipeg. We have Mennonite, Venerable, and Success. They have a new album coming out called Loved in a month or two time. Looking forward to that one too. After that, we have Killer Be Killed, another side project from Mastodon featuring Troy Sanders, Max Cavalera from Sepultura, and one of the guys from Dillinger Escape Plan. I think it's Ben Weinman, I want to say. Kind of more straight ahead stuff than their other bands. But it's good kind of hard rock metal stuff with lots of good riffs. Then one of the more interesting bands to come out in the last couple of years, King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. We have Nonagon Infinity opens the door. Nonagon Infinity opens the door. Where's it? Right there. Right there. And then Flying Microtonal Banana, which is an album, as the title suggests recorded with microtonal instruments. So it sounds a bit different than the usual Western music, because Western music usually only contains 12 notes of the musical scale, but this one contains a lot more. I want to say probably 24 at least. So all the in-between notes that you don't hear in most popular music is contained in that album. Then Murder of the Universe, that one plays kind of like a movie, because there's lots of interludes, spoken word interludes, and it sounds very cinematic. And they narrate what's going on with the protagonist in the album. Then we have Sketches of Brunswick East. I think this is their jazzy album. It's got a lot of jazz elements. Really good stuff. Crocodile. This is a band from Europe, I want to say. They opened for Mastodon a few years ago. It's... How do I describe it? Kind of sheeny, Charlie Sheeny riff metal. Good stuff. Legend of the Seagull Men, right there. Look at that. Kind of gimmicky sea shanty sing-along stuff, featuring Danny Carey from Tool on drums and Brent Hines from Mastodon on guitar. It's like the soundtrack to a movie about sailors and seagulls. That's pretty much what it is. They've got some Liquid Tension Experiment. This is a side project right there. Liquid Tension Experiment side project from John Petrucci, Mike Portnoy, and then it was Jordan Rudess. This is the album that caused Jordan Rudess to join Dream Theater. And Tony Levin on bass guitar and Chapman stick. And for those who don't know, a Chapman stick is it's like a bass, but you play it with kind of like clothespin hanger things on your fingers. I've never played it myself, but it sounds like a riot. Got some Machine Head, Burn My Eyes, and The Blackening. The Blackening I really liked. Thrashy, good guitar work. Haven't listened to Burn My Eyes yet, but imagine it's more like new metalish because it's the first one, and it came out around that time. Mahavishnu Orchestra, The Inner Mounting Flame. This is really good jazz fusion prog rock stuff. Really crazy guitar work. It's not metal or hard rock. It's just kind of dense jazzy fusion stuff. Then we have, I think, oh yes, got a glimpse of it there. Come on, focus. Come on, ice cream. The Maestro, Yngwie J. Malmsteen. Rising Force, his first solo record right there. Crazy neoclassical guitar work featuring Yngwie Malmsteen. It's like Eddie Van Halen. It's like Eddie Van Halen playing classical music. It's not bad stuff. Manowar, the best and only metal band of all time. Kings of Metal. That says it all right there. That's the only album I need, really. I'm going to throw out the rest of my CDs and only have this because that's all you need. Like, what's better than dudes in loincloths oiled up singing about war and metal? Like, that's all you need, really. After that, it doesn't matter because Manowar is the shit. Now, after that, we have, what is it? Mars Volta. De Laus in the Comatorium. Francis the Mute. Amputecture. The Bedlam in Goliath. Octahedron. And the last one, Nocturnicate. Yeah, very good kind of jazzy prog rock, Latin fusion stuff. Lots of instruments, lots of craziness, very psychedelic, and lots of cool musical moments, lots of ear candy. Marillion, Misplaced Childhood. Another favorite word of today, prog or progressive rock. I think they're from England, but don't quote me. Only listened to this once or twice, and it reminded me of Genesis, kind of theatrical progressive rock. Still very good. Marilyn Manson, Antichrist Superstar, one of the scariest records ever recorded, in my opinion. I've had this CD. I listened to this CD, this album, for the first time when I was like 16 when it first came out, and it scared the shit out of me. And it's like a horror movie put on tape, and I love it. Very, very satanic, very, very evil. And then one of my favorite bands, if not my favorite band, we have Mr. Dan, aka Mastodon, aka No Dot Sam. We have entire discography. We have Life's Blood, their first EP. I think it's on Relapse. Yeah, it is. Look at that. It's on Relapse right there. And I only had to get this because it's the same songs as on Call of the Mastodon right there, but it's got samples in between the songs, so I needed it because of that. So we have Life's Blood, the first full-length Remission, Leviathan, Call of the Mastodon, Blood Mountain, right there, Crack the Sky, Live at the Aragon, which is a live album as the title says, The Hunter, Once More Around the Sun, Emperor of Sand, and the EP that came out. When did it come out? I want to say last September or October. Cold Dark Place. So this is they started as like a crazy sludge hardcore band, and they kind of morphed and progressed into a crazy sludgy progressive psychedelic band, and I like it all because I like food, and as much as I like steak, I don't want to eat steak all the time. I know that sounds blasphemous, and I don't want to eat chicken wings all the time. I don't want to eat salad all the time. I want to have a combination of those things. I don't want to eat eggs all the time. I don't want to eat apples all the time. It's important to have a balanced diet, and you can get that with not only Mastodon, but I think my entire music collection here. After Mastodon, we have James Hetfield's favorite band, Megadeth. We have Peace Sells But Who's Buying and Rest in Peace. How the fuck? There we go. That's back. Yeah, just one of the big four thrash metal bands from, I don't know, I think Where are they from? I think they're from the West Coast. I don't know if it's LA or somewhere. I think they're from the West Coast. And then the Melvins, another highly influential sludge band from Washington State. I want to say Aberdeen, Washington, wherever that is. So we have their first album, Gluey Porch Treatments, Bullhead, Houdini, the first major label album, the first Melvins album that I got, Stoner Witch, Stag, and then the 3 albums, the first one here with the Big Business Guys, A Senile Animal, right there. And the Bootlicker, Nude with Boots, Bride Screen Murder. So those 3 albums, Senile Animal, Nude with Boots, and Bride Screen Murder, those feature the guys from Big Business in the band as well. So this iteration of the Melvins has 2 drummers and a guitarist and a bass player. Kind of weird sludge metal, kind of oddball stuff. Very interesting to listen to. Very prolific too, the Melvins are very prolific. And the last one here, Love and Death, the Melvins. Then everyone's favorite food, meatloaf. You gotta have some meatloaf in your diet. Bats Out of Hell, very operatic, cinematic, AOR, album-oriented rock, schmaltz rock, where you feel like you need to take a dump after listening to this. Then some Merciful Fate, Don't Break the Oath. Very influential, extreme, kind of, it's not very black metalish, it's just like kind of extreme. It's like Black Sabbath, just taken to the next level when it comes to lyrics and image and message. And then Meshuggah, everyone's favorite crazy band. Their name literally means crazy in Hebrew. Meshuggah, Obzen. They're called one of the originators of gent, but they don't play gent themselves. I'm not a big fan of gent. It's just very polyrhythmic, insane music where the guitars and bass and drums all play in different time signatures, and somehow they all meet up together at certain points. All right, back to the front. We have Metallica, Kill 'Em All, Ride the Lightning, Master of Puppets. 2 versions. We have the original and the remastered one that came out a few months ago. Master of Puppets, one of my favorite albums as well. Justice for All and Justice for All, the Black Album, and the latest one, Hardwired to Self-Destruct. And then the $5.98 Garage Days Revisited EP, even though this was like double the price. This was like $12 when I bought it a few months ago. False advertising, Metallica, false advertising. The Meters, the Funky Meters, they're a funk band from New Orleans. They're not like metal or hard rock or anything. They're just the kind of like, they're funky. They're straight up R&B funk. It's fun to listen to. Mos Giganticus. This album came out, what is it, Left Hand Path? No, Gift Horse. Came out on Relapse Records a few years ago. It's very good, kind of heavy riff rock. Yeah. Then Motorhead, Ace of Spades, and the last one before Lemmy passed away, Bad Magic. It's very good, influential, essential rock and roll, as they say. We got some Mr. Bungle. I think this is their, I don't know what number it is in their discography, but it's just like straight up weird rock stuff. Kind of like the Melvins, but not as sludgy. It's just fun to listen to. Then we got The Network, which, don't tell anybody, but it's featuring the members of Green Day. Not as Green Day though. They're wearing masks. They have aliases, and it's like if Devo and Green Day recorded an album together. It's like apocalyptic robot new wave punk stuff. Very interesting to listen to. Very good stuff. Then one of my favorite bands here from Oakland, California, Neurosis. Pretty sure I have their entire discography now. Starting with their latest reissue of the first album, Pain of Mind. And then Word is Law, Souls at Zero, Enemy of the Sun, Through Silver and Blood, Times of Grace, which is the first album that I got from them. A Sun That Never Sets, Sovereign, and the 2 live CDs. The Eye of Every Storm, Given to the Rising, fucking Honor Found in Decay, and then the last one, Fires Within Fires. They're now like a atmospheric experimental sludge band, but they started off as a straight up hardcore band for the first 2 albums, and only at Souls of Zero did they incorporate samples and kind of slower tempos and more interesting chord progressions and more interesting instrumentation. Nine Inch Nails, Downward Spiral, very angry record, very influential and essential too. Nine Inch Nails. And then Numbskull, another album that I got from the Relapse Records grab bag. Haven't listened to that at all yet. Pretty sure it's death metal. But like I said, haven't listened to it at all. And then The Obsessed, reissue of their first self-titled one on Relapse Records. It's straight up kind of heavy blues rock featuring Scott Weinrich. We got Opeth, Blackwater Park, Deliverance, Damnation, Ghost Reveries, Watershed, Heritage, Pale Communion, and Sorceress. So again, that's a band that's gone through a change in sound since their inception. They started as a kind of progressive death metal band, and now they're kind of straight up progressive rock band. I like it all. Then we got Operation Ivy. Holy shit, my battery power's down to 15%. I had it at 100% before this started. Wow. I might have to do 2 parts of this. We will see. Or maybe I'll just hurry it up. I'll just list everything. Okay, we got... what band is that? Orchid, Mouths of Madness, Oscar Peterson Trio, Night Train, Ozzy Osbourne, Blizzard of Oz, and Diary of a Madman, No More Tears, Ozman Cometh, Paul Bear, Sorrow and Extinction, Foundations of Burden, right there, Heartless. We got Palms, Pantera, Reinventing the Steel, Official Live, 101 Proof, Great Southern Trend Kill, Far Beyond Driven, Vulgar Display of Power, Cowboys from Hell, and their greatest hits, Far Beyond the Great Southern Cowboys Vulgar Hits. With Pentagram, Relentless, Periphery, I think it's self-titled, and then the one that came after that, and then 2 other ones, Juggernaut. Still lots of CDs to get through, holy shit. Pink Floyd. We have the early years, 1967 to 1972, The Endless River, A Foot in the Door, which is a greatest hits compilation, Pinkish Black, Bottom of the Morning, Pirates of Dark Water, which is, I think, a side project of the guys from The Sword. Iggy Pop, Post-Pop Depression. What is that? Popol Vuh. Hosiana Mantra, another prog rock band. Primitive Man, Caustic. Primus, Sailing the Seas of Cheese. Protest the Hero. Kezia, Fortress, Scurrilous, and Volition. Queen, A Night at the Opera. Queens of the Stone Age, we have all of them. We have the first one, Rated R, Songs for the Deaf, Lullabies to Paralyze, Era Vulgaris, Clockwork, Like Clockwork, and Villains. And B-Sides, One-Offs, and Other Rarities collection. Radiohead, OK Computer, and Kid A, and In Rainbows. Richie Blackmore's Rainbow, Rainbow Rising, and Rainbow Long Live Rock and Roll. We have Rammstein, Herzlite, Sehnsucht, Mutter, Reise, and Made in Germany. Greatest Hits compilation. Loud, Fast, Ramones, their toughest hits. The top here, Red Fang, Murder the Mountains, Whales and Leeches. And their last one, Only Ghosts. And then a Relapse Records, Contamination, or not a Contamination, but a Relapse Records, Extreme Music Sampler right there. Richard Hell and the Voivods, Ringworm, Snake Church, River Black, The Roots. Oh, I forgot I had that too. The Roots. Do you want more? That's what it's called. Do you want more? Rush, Clockwork Angels, Russian Circles, Geneva, Sag, Delusions of Grandeur is what it's called. Santana, Abraxas, Sepultura, Chaos AD, and Roots. I think the one below that is Shellac at Action Park. You can barely see it right there. Shrine Builder, Paul Simon, Slayer, Sleep, Sluggage, Smashing Pumpkins, Soylent Green, Sonic Youth, Soundgarden. On the one above that, Soundgarden is the, you can barely see it, but it's the Sound City documentary soundtrack that came out a few years ago from Dave Grohl. Steely Dan, Aja, Steve Miller Band, Book of Dreams, The Stooges, self-titled and Funhouse, and then we got the Stranger Things soundtrack, Volume 1 and 2. I think I'm going to stop it right here and come back for Volume 2 after my phone charges again. I might have to do this some other time. I have a few more CDs to go through, so I'm guessing this is about 2/3 of the way through my collection. Yeah, so thanks for watching. I'll be back maybe even later tonight with part 2 of this. Thank you for watching. I'm going to turn the camera around so you can see my face again. There it is. There's a TV that I stream on right there. Yeah, so thanks for watching. Nama.